Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Joe Canfield, founder, CEO of FairwaysRM, back here with another episode of the FairwaysRM podcast where we talk about rounds of golf that we've played, the things that we've learned, and how we're going to start to implement those things in our trainings to help you become better master relationship builder and using golf to do it. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about a round that I played this week. Didn't get out as much as I wanted to, just played one 18-hole round, which, I mean, most people would be ecstatic about that, but I'd like to get out 2, 3, 4, even 5 times a week if I can. And then I want to talk a little bit about something going on the PGA Tour right now. You had Lexi Thompson playing in a PGA event down in Las Vegas this week, the Shriners, which I think is awesome. She's one of a handful of women who have played PGA Tour events, and she actually tied the scoring record in the second round just today, which is really cool. But I want to talk a little bit about that, and talking about the round that I played this week is going to kind of set that up a little bit too. Really, the theme of today's episode is setting expectations and living up to what you want to do when you're on the golf course. Um, it's really kind of a cool feat for a woman to be playing on that big stage, right? And there's been others that have done it before. Annika Sorenstam's done it. Michelle Wie did it a couple of times, but no woman has ever made a cut on a PGA Tour event. And so I'm going to get into that a little bit, and hopefully draw some parallels between why I feel women kind of struggle on the PGA Tour and aren't able to keep up, and how that translates into your game as well as an amateur, and the things that you can be looking for when you're on the golf course that will help you be able to conquer different challenges and hit different shots. So anyway, had the pleasure to get out today, or earlier this week. We've had some weather rolling through here in Salt Lake. Had some snow on the ground early on Wednesday morning, but was lucky enough to play Tuesday and have beautiful weather, kind of one of the last days of the season, although things are looking up a little bit. Looking like we're going to have at least another week of good weather out here so we can get a few more rounds in. Actually going to be headed down to Las Vegas next week and playing down there at one of my favorite courses, Angel Park. It's really just one of those places where golf is, become the secondary activity, and they're all about building community and having people just enjoy being out on the course no matter how well they're playing. But anyway, yeah, I played Tuesday, got out and played 18 holes at Canyons Golf out here in Utah. And I describe it as the world's largest miniature golf course. It plays less than 6,000 yards, which at altitude is very short. If I'm playing at sea level, would be the equivalent of about 4,800 yards, maybe. So really short course, but they've made it really tough. It's literally built into the side of the mountain. Growing up out here, there were two different ski resorts in Park City. It was Canyons and it was Park City. And in the last several years, Vail came in and bought one side, and they've combined it to be all one resort. It's the largest resort in the continental United States. Only Whistler is bigger, or Whistler and Blackcomb is bigger than the two. But Vail kind of came in and said, hey, we need a golf experience for guests that are out here. Park City's kind of famous for its private golf courses. You got Glen Wild, Jeremy Ranch, Promontory. You've got people like Tiger and Michael Jordan and people like that who have houses out here that and a lot of kind of former PGA pros. You have a weird contingent of NHL guys who have retired that are living out here on those courses, but super exclusive, very private. Guest fees if you do get lucky enough to get an invite, or $200-300. So Vail said, we need a public course here that isn't the city course. So they built their own literally into the side of the mountain. There's a couple of holes where you hit tee shots and you're up and you're hitting these tee shots and they're going to drop 400 feet. there was one shot I played a few years back in a tournament, so we could, just kind of rip it instead of trying to hit one in the fairway. I pulled driver and I hit my drive 530 yards. And so you're kind of going, this is a goofy course. You're going to hit shots here that you would not hit on any other golf course. But knowing that going in, and this is the point that I want to start to make here, is if you can set your expectations for the round and not go into it expecting like the best golf experience that you've ever had, you're going to have a way better day than you would if you were just out there wanting it to be Augusta, right? Wanting the local muni to be the most fantastic course ever. One of the things that we share in our video or in our video online course is a video from Bob Does Sports. And it's one of the funniest things ever. And we talk a lot about setting expectations in that course and when we do trainings with people. But in this video, he convinces his buddies that they're going to go play Torrey Pines, right? He picks them up early in the morning. He gets them all hyped up. Hey man, we're going to go play Torrey. This is going to be fantastic. Picks up his buddy and he's super excited to be out there, right? And his buddy falls asleep in the car and they pull up to what is called the Links at Victoria, which has become almost a legend in the golf world of how bad of a golf course it is. They pull up, there's no grass in the fairway. The video is hilarious. If you go look it up, it's Bob Does Sports, Links at Victoria, something like that. You'll find it. It's hilarious, but it illustrates this point of when you set really high expectations of what you're expecting out of that day, you're setting yourself up to be disappointed. And so when I got invited to go out and play the canyons, it was actually really funny. I saw a friend on Instagram had posted a picture of the foliage and how beautiful of a course it is. And he wasn't wrong. The views at this place are unbelievable. But a lot of that has to do with how high up on the side of the mountain you are and the views of the valley you get from these tee boxes that are elevated, 200-300 feet up above the fairway. So when I got invited to go play, I knew what I was getting myself into. I'd played the course before. In a scramble a couple of times, and I had played my own ball there once or twice, I think. But anyway, I knew what I was getting myself into, and so I was prepared for that day, knowing, okay, I'm probably going to lose, a couple dozen or a couple sleeves of balls, but I'm just going to come out here and I'm going to hit good shots and hope that they roll the right way, right? And the course has these greens where there's undulations in them that you're like, okay, this is unbelievable. I had one putt that I commented to the friend I was with, like going, can we get like a clown's mouth out here to putt through to make this feel a little bit more realistic? And then I whacked the putt off the pin it was an eagle putt and hit it off the pin, which was even funnier, but you just kind of laugh at it. But anyway, it was a fantastic day at the end of the day. Like I was out there, really enjoyed my time on the course and was able to build a relationship, with who I was with and talk business, talk things and get to know him better on a personal level. And I wasn't so focused on how stupid the golf course was. I mean, I would make comments like, okay, this is the dumbest hole ever. I mean, the first hole, blind tee shot, it's like a 314 yard par 4. I hit a tee shot. I have no idea where it went. I'm like, hey, I hit that great. I think it's going to be good. We drive up, we get over the hill and I don't see it anywhere. And we just kind of drove around. I'm like, well, I can maybe hit the green. Like if I hit one really good, I can get it to go that far. And we pull up behind the green and I'm kind of looking in the bunker. I'm like, maybe it went too far and it ended up going off the edge of the cliff here. And the guy I'm with goes, hey, there's 10 feet from the hole. And I'm go over and look at it and go, yeah, sure enough, that's my ball. I just hit a drive to 10 feet on a par 4, right? Which is an awesome feeling. You're going, all right. And so I'm going, okay, this is going to actually be pretty good. I feel like I'm going to play really well. And I did. I ended up playing super well, and really enjoyed the day. But, it's not like I'd hit a lot of the same shots on that course that I would at like my home course or if I was out playing somewhere else. The other goofy course out here in Utah that if you get a chance to play, you should, but you have to definitely make sure you set your expectations for it because you're going to shoot the worst score of your life on it. It's Red Ledges. It's a private course. It's kind of another one of those where the Park City area private course, but it is absolutely beautiful, breathtaking views. It's a much better course than the Canyons, but it is so hard. And all the greens, it's a Jack Nicklaus signature course. And so Jack loves putting crazy undulations in his greens. I believe every green has 7 different areas for them to put a pin. And so you're going to hit shots next to a pin and it's going to end up 30, 40 feet away, right? You're like, that's the best shot I've ever hit. And it's going to roll back to your feet because of how severe the slopes are. But the course is in fantastic shape all the time. And I really enjoy playing it. I've had a friend tell me, he goes, if I owned property there and had a membership, I would be the best fly fisherman in all of Utah because I would never play golf. I'd quit the game. And I agreed with him. I said, yeah, if you had to play that every single time, absolutely. I can totally understand that. But at the same time, like if you get the chance to go play it maybe once or twice a year, or you're playing it maybe once a week and you know what it is you're getting yourself into, you can have a really enjoyable day. And you take the highs as the highs and the lows as the lows, because you're going to have a hole or two out there that you triple, quadruple, even are 5, 6 over on. You're going to hit 4 or 5 chip shots up to a green thinking they're great, and they're going to roll back to your feet. That's just how the course is designed. You know, the members complained about it, and Jack, said, you know what you guys need to do? You need to play better golf, which is kind of a pompous answer if you ask me, but it's true. Like, being in challenging situations makes it so you have to perform. You need to be better. And it gives you that drive and the motivation to be better. And without that, if everything was ever easy and you never faced any adversity, then what's the point of trying to get better? That's the way that I always approach those kinds of courses. It's like, yeah, this is going to challenge me in a different way than any other golf course is going to challenge me. And so I need to step up and take that. And I need to execute on shots instead of feeling the safety of, okay, I know I have a fairway right. And so if I hit a big old cut and I miss far right, I'm still going to be able to get over there and play the ball. It's like, no, you're in this tight spot. And Canyons, they've actually had to close several tee boxes because people were spraying them left and right, hitting houses. There's one hole along the road that it was very shortly after they opened the course that they had to close the back tee boxes because people were hitting cars as they were driving by. It's kind of the tee box comes here and it kind of bows out left, a little dog leg to the right, and you have to hit the tee shot out here, but people are trying to cut the corner, but the highway runs right there. And so people were hitting cars driving by. And so they had to close that tee box. Rather than challenging people and saying, hey, you need to hit the fairway or you need to be better at golf. If you're not good enough, don't play these tee boxes. They just had to end up closing them, which probably in the long run is much smarter and much better. But anyway, I enjoyed the round and I came away from it going, yeah, that was very challenging. I played well, which was fun to execute shots. There's definitely shots I'd like to have back, but that's any round of golf. So anytime you find yourself in a challenging situation, rather than being mad about it, look at it as an opportunity. Look at it as a challenge, an opportunity to get better. And you hear the get 1% better, or Utah football. I was at the game today. 22% better every day. Take those challenges for what they are and go into that round knowing what to expect. Okay, this course is ridiculous. I'm not going to shoot a score here, but I'm going to have fun. I'm going to build strong relationships, and I'm going to walk away from this day a better person than I was when I showed up here. So yeah, that was fun. So the other thing I wanted to get into a little bit here, just for a couple of minutes, is Lexi Thompson playing on the PGA Tour, which I think was awesome. I think Lexi kind of has a bad reputation. There's that video of her going around on social media where she hits a tee shot and it's right. It's into the crowd and her caddy yells "4," as caddies do. And she looks over at caddy and goes, "It's not that bad." And then on the television, you see it one hop into a person, which I think was kind of funny. But she's kind of known to have an attitude. She was sponsored by Red Bull for a while. I don't know if she still is, but kind of fit that persona of the edgy athlete and, being in golf and being that kind of counterculture type thing, like Nike did a really good job back in the day with, Serena and, what was it, Rafa Nadal and the guys that are kind of the counterculture to the country club mentality. So that's kind of the mold she fit, but she got an opportunity to tee up at the Shriners Open this week down in Vegas at TPC Summerlin. And the first round she played, she's hitting drives 300. She's keeping up. She's hitting it just as far as the guys are. But it was around the greens where she really struggled. And Annika Sorenstam, another woman who had a chance to play on the PGA Tour, she's said the same thing. I can hit drives just as far as the guys do, and I can put the ball where it needs to go. But if I miss and I'm in the rough, I'm not strong enough to get it up and down. They grow the roughs out so long and so thick on the PGA Tour that if you or I were playing these courses and as an amateur and you hit the ball into the rough, it's gone. You're not going to find it because the roughs are so long. I think that's one great advantage that PGA Tour players have. And you'll hear people say this all the time, like, "Oh yeah, if I had somebody out there that was looking for every shot I hit, my scores would be way better." But what they don't realize is that if you find that shot, you now have to hit it out of the world's thickest rough. You have a lie that, probably 80% of people aren't strong enough and skilled enough to have the touch to have that ball come out of there and travel the distance they want it to do. As an amateur, I've had the chance to play a couple of courses that are groomed for professionals and a couple of pro-ams and things like that. And you get off into the rough and you're done for. There's a reason why a lot of those play this Vegas scramble format, because if everybody had to go find their tee shots in that thick rough and hit those, like it would be a 7.5 hour round without a doubt, because you're chopping these things up the fairway. You're hitting 3, 4, 5, 6 to even get onto the green. And so I think that's the part that people miss. And that's something that Annika Sorenstam admitted to, was they've grown the roughs out so thick and made the course so hard and unplayable if you miss a fairway. That's why I can't compete. And I think as an amateur and trying to get better at golf, I think that's super misunderstood, is how hard it is to play out of lies that aren't perfect. You go on the driving range and you have a perfectly flat lie. You're beautifully groomed grass most of the time, or you can find a spot where the ball's propped up perfectly. You don't realize how hard it is when you're in different situations, whether it's deep rough, whether it's an uneven lie, or greenside bunkers that are, you got a lip you got to hit out over. I think that's where the biggest difference between skill levels lies, is being able to adapt to different situations and different lies and things on the course. I think that it's the same way in business as well, and in life. And like talking about mindset and what to expect and around when you're playing these hard courses, I think that's where a lot of separation happens with how successful people are as well. It's how do you respond in adverse situations? How do you take a situation that's difficult and not only challenge it head on, but come out the other side as a better, stronger, more refined version of yourself? How do you take these situations and adapt to it rather than complain about it? I think that's where a lot of successful PGA pros are able to do it. And if you watched Full Swing on Netflix, and if you haven't and you're into golf, I highly suggest it. But the episode with Joel Diamond kind of talks about this a lot, where his caddy talks about how Joel is the most self-deprecating person he's ever met, and he talks terribly about himself. He doesn't think he's a great golfer, blah, 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 blah. And when he finally got to Joel and said, look, you are a fantastic golfer. You can be one of the best in the world. And he was able to flip that switch in Joel's mind. He went out and started winning tournaments. And so you hear that golf is a game of, it's a 6-inch game, and it's the 6 inches between your ears. It's a mental game. I think that is in life as well. It's what separates the greats from the have-nots, from the haves. And if you can get a grip on facing challenging situations with optimism and with a can-do attitude, then you're going to be able to handle 95 to 100% of the situations that you get yourself in. And the same is true on the golf course. If you come up and you've hit a fantastic drive, but it happened to roll into the rough, and now you've got to lay up on the par 5 rather than go for it, rather than thinking, oh crap, now I have to lay up, I don't have a chance at eagle, whatever. It's like, okay, I'm going to hit a fantastic second shot here, and I'm going to put myself in where I can hit a 50, 60, 70 yard pitch shot or whatever, close, and putt for eagle, rather than thinking, crap, a crappy break, blah, 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 I got screwed. It's how do you take that situation and reverse it and turn it into a positive? I got a little more philosophical here than I wanted to. But late at night, my thoughts are kind of rambling, but those are the two things that I really took from this week's golf. And it was enter the round with the correct attitude. Don't, face courses that are goofy with an attitude of this is stupid, I don't even want to be here. Be grateful that you're on the course in the first place. Be grateful to have the opportunity to get out and play. And second is just just be aware of situations and face tough situations head on, and, get in there, take care of business, and hopefully come out on the other side as a better person, a better version of yourself. So I want to thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week going down to Las Vegas, got a round planned. And so we'll be recapping that round and talking a little bit more about what's going on in the golf world. So thanks again for listening in, and we'll talk to you next week.